Welcome to the IDP Guys podcast. I'm your host, Steve Hungarter, at IDP Hunters. I am a writer over at the Fantasy Six Pack and at IDP Guys. I'm also an ECR ranker on Fantasy Pros. Tonight we're going to do what we usually do is the IDP rankings for week 10. My co-host is Jamie Perog, and he returns back because tonight we're going to do it a little different. We're going to go over some of the players. We're going to highlight some that we don't always get to here. But I want to be a little bit more intimate with the audience, and I want to talk more about the fan mailbag that we have and answer some of your questions, guys. How you doing tonight, Jamie?
Oh, I'm doing great. I was grooving to that music. I love it. It puts me in the mood.
The mood to do this. Not the mood for anything else. The mood to do this. Hey, so what have you been up to?
Not much. Still going for two. We do the Sunday morning start sit show at 9, or starts at 11:30 Eastern time, and then we do the Tuesday night cheat sheet starting at 9:30 every Tuesday night. So, and I also do a start sit thread on my Facebook group. It's called Fantasy Football Discussion. We have over 40,000 members, so I like to give the members kind of a thread where I can go through Saturday night after I get my rankings set and just answer all the questions, and it works out a lot. Like I'm at like a 90% start rate.
Awesome. So, Jamie, you already know. I'm just gonna do a little repeat myself, explain to the audience, for people that are new, what we do here. I do my rankings based on Fantasy Pros rankings, and for those that are on Spotify that can't see my screen, I'm just gonna list it to you. The solo tackles that we rank based on, it's 1.5 points. Assisted tackles are 0.75. Tackle for loss is 2 points. Sacks is 4, interceptions is 5, fumbles lost 4, and so forth and so forth. Jamie, me and you, we kind of study this, don't we?
Yeah, it's pretty basic, but you always have to check your league settings, because if something is a variant of this and you hear Steve talking about sacks, but your sacks are worth a lot more in the leagues, or tackles, you need to pay attention to that.
Ain't that the truth? And that's a really good point. I don't know how many people don't check their scoring, and they don't check their bylaws, and they don't check their roster format. That's the first thing I do when I draft. I'm looking for all that. I want to know where the wrinkles are, so to speak, in the scoring. And if you guys at home have been following my podcast, I've been trying to give it all to you guys. Like I've been saying, you keep tuning in, you keep liking, you keep asking me smart questions. I'll answer them on the show. You guys keep listening, keep following, and I'll keep doing these podcasts. In regards to the rankings, though, another thing I do, Jamie, I don't know if you remember from a couple weeks ago, I kind of go over the leaderboard. Currently, right now, we are in week 9. It's been a couple weeks. I'm just catching you up. So right now, this week, I am the number 2 ECR ranker for IDP.
And that's overall?
Over everybody. So out of everybody on here, I think there's what? I don't know, 300 people? I don't know what it is, but I am number 2 overall for week 9. When you go for the whole season, season to date, I am 4th overall. When you look at the actual points, I'm only 4 points away from taking second. So I am pretty close. You'll notice these rankings. I mean, it's any given Sunday. IDP guys are pretty close.
Yeah, I see a lot of smart people on that list.
A lot of good dudes in there too. A lot of guys I've interviewed on the show. A lot of guys I'm about to interview on the show. A lot of credible people. And like I was telling the audience, I like smart questions. I like smart thoughts. It's the only way we get better is by bringing in nuances. If there's people out in the audience or even on Spotify, and they think they have a great idea or they have a great league, or heck, they think their rankings are better than mine, by all means, message me. I'm on Twitter at IDP Hunter. You can message me in the YouTube comments. I don't mind bringing on a special guest now and again. You don't have to be an analyst. There's no criteria to do this. I mean, shoot, I just started this year. But by all means, the only way we get better and grow as an experience is by learning and taking new techniques. And that's what I want to do. That's all I want to do is I want to show you some of the stuff that I do here, guys. You want to go ahead and begin? We'll talk defensive linemen.
Let's do it.
All right, let me get the defensive lineman out, and we'll begin the show here. So in regards to defensive linemen, do you remember the criteria that we talk? Remember what I look for?
The snap percentages, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm looking. I have a – oh, good. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
No, I was just saying that's what I look for when I go to pick people off waivers and everything like that. I look at the snap percentages.
I got a couple things I do. First thing I look at, obviously I mix my DL and my DTs because DTs can be somewhat streamable. I look for snap share between 60 and 80. I do look at matchups and win rates. You'll see on my rankings, you'll see a collection of different things. You'll see guys that are just straight sack heavy dudes, or you'll see guys that are, maybe they're just tackle savvy. At the end of the list, when I'm looking at my top 14, 15, I'm just punting. I'm just seeing what will stick, what doesn't stick. Okay. When you look at my top 4 this week, the top 4, I got Crosby 1, TJ Watt 2, Micah Parsons 3, Myles Garrett 4. Jamie, it's safe to say I think everybody has it in some sort of order like that.
Yeah, I could see like going against the Giants, going against the horrible Green Bay offense and the Jets, you would have to put those 3 above Garrett.
Yeah, my number 1 is Crosby. He's got 32 tackles on the season. That's first. That is first in the league. He's got assists with 12. That's tied for first. He's got sacks with 10. That's tied for first. Forced fumbles 1, tied for 15th. Can't win them all, right? Yeah. He's also got a 21% win rate, and he's playing the Jets. Come on, man. He's playing the Jets. What do we know about the Jets this year? The Jets are bleeding. They are bleeding at that position. They got Aaron Rodgers hurt. Let's be real. They got Aaron Rodgers hurt the first game. They cannot block.
Their offensive line is horrible. I even brought that up on last night's Cheat Sheet show. That was one of my takes. Their offensive line, horrible. So,
can you see my little screenshot?
I see the graph. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I put a graph because there's a couple interesting notes this episode. The Jets are the 3rd worst offensive line in football.
Yep.
Look, they gave up 32 sacks on the season. Now you're getting Miles Crosby. Sign me up for some of that. Holy cow!
Max Crosby is going to eat. There's no way he does not end up as the number 1 this week.
There's no way. Not what you just seen there. So, enough on that. That one's kind of a no-brainer. You set and forget it. Another good one I'd set and forget is TJ Watt, 7 tackles, tied for 76th. Assists, 5, tied for 37th. Sacks with 10, he's first. Two forced fumbles, tied for 5th. He's got a 21% win percentage. You know how I feel about those win percentages. Anything over 8 to 12 is gravy. But between Crosby and Watt, every single week, they are just killing it out there. Moving on a little bit here because those 2 guys are almost interchangeable week to week. I put Micah Parsons at 3. Do you see who he's playing?
Yeah, and I noticed the Giants were number 1 on the draft for the offensive line. So there could be a case to make that Parsons could be in that number 3 spot.
Look at how crazy that. I almost put Parsons at 2, but I really love Watt. It's really either or, but if you look at this, like, holy smokes, what Parsons has done in his little bit of time between being a linebacker and between a defensive lineman, what Parsons has done is just simply incredible for that defense. I mean, anytime you get a guy that makes everyone else around him look better, not only is he playing the Giants, they gave up all of those sacks. He's got a 33% win rate. 16 tackles in a season, 16th. 6 assists, tied for 24th. Sacks, this is why you want him, 8. He's tied for 9th. Forced fumbles, 1, tied for 15th. I mean, is there any more I could say about those guys that hasn't been said? So this is my top tier. You know, Crosby, Watt, Parsons, and I threw Myles Garrett in there because, heck.
That's Myles Garrett.
It's a Browns fan I'm talking to, guys. Yeah, Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is phenomenal. I mean, to say the least, he's just a freak of nature with his 11 tackles. That's tied for 52nd. Assist 4, tied for 48th. This is why you own him. Sacks at 10, tied for first with Crosby. Forced fumbles 1, and he's got a knack for pushing for punching the ball out. I mean, he's number 1 with forced fumbles, and he's got a 38% win rate. He's going against Baltimore. That's a pretty average middle of the pack matchup. It's pretty average, but the thing about Myles Garrett is he can beat better than average linemen. We see it every week.
He'll chase you down.
Yeah, he will. Moving on to 5, slightly a little bit down, I got Nick Bosa. Okay. Nick Bosa's got a 21% win rate despite being double teamed 27% of the time. Let me just say that again. The man's got a 21% win rate, yet he is doubled more than 1/4 of the time. So, you don't just get to where you are Nick Bosa level without that. His season is a little bit on the down, considering I have him at 4. 13 tackles, tied for 41st. Assist with 3, 68th. Sacks 4, 37th. And I know what you're probably thinking. You're like, man, I bet you're wondering why I have him so high versus Jacksonville. Well, I'm going to tell you why. Jacksonville is one of those teams, they give up pressures, man. If you look at these stats as a rule or guide, like the way I'm trying to explain it, it's great when you have stats, but if this is one of those cases where the stats don't really show up. They don't really show up for Parsons because he doesn't look like he's having a stellar season. But let me just show you one thing, Jamie, okay? I'm going to show you one thing. Can you see my screen right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is Pro Football Reference. If anybody out there wants some cheap stats and just to go look.
That's a great site to go on. I use it almost every day.
Okay, now you already kind of know the answer I'm going to say. Who do you think leads the league in quarterback hits? Mr. Nick Bosa with 48.
Yeah,
and if you look at this stat, it's not even close. The next guy's Crosby at 36. He is destroying people. He's just not getting the almighty sack this year so far, right? Also, the Jaguars are not very good at offensive line protection. It looks like it on the paper, but they give up a lot of pressures. So put all that together, any given week, Bosa gets in there, pressure, makes a hit. He can be a top 4 or 5 play for you. So that's why I got him so high.
Yeah, I like that. I'm looking at Lawrence right now. I mean, he does get pressured a lot. Yeah, 43 pressured throws. So, yeah, I like that call.
We got a lot of guys on this list, and I'll move through them a little quicker. Number 6 is Daniel Hunter, 27 tackles, 4 assists, 27 tackles is actually 4th ranked. Assist with 10, tied for 7th. Sacks at 10, yeah. Forced fumbles 3, tied for 2nd. He's playing New Orleans. New Orleans is a suspect offensive line for the same reasons I said above.
Yep.
Hunter Hutchinson is all in that same category. Aiden Hutchinson's the same way. He's a 13 tackle guy, tied for 35th. 2 in assists, tied for 87th. Sacks, he's at 4. He's tied for 32nd. But the reason I like him, forced fumbles 1. He's tied for 15th. He's playing the Chargers. The Chargers are going to go back. They're going to throw passes. He can eat this week. And again, he's always just one of those freak athletes. He's always in people's conversations. He's always going to be the one with the ball. And the same thing with the next two, Allen and Thibodeau. They're the same exact kind of players. Allen and Thibodeau, let me run those guys together for you, okay? Let's do Allen first. Allen's got 15 tackles in the season, tied for 31st. He's got 4 assists, tied for 48th. He's got 9 sacks, tied for 6th. Forced fumbles 2, tied for 5th. Fresh off a bye week, he's getting the San Francisco 49ers. And they have showed statistically they can be beaten this year at the defensive end position. So I like Josh Allen this week. And I also like number 9, Kayvon Thibodeau. 11 tackles, tied for 52nd. Assist with 7, tied for 8th. Forced fumbles 1, tied for 15th. 9 sacks, tied for 6th. If you are playing, you only care about those sacks. If you're playing this guy, you know he's a sack-dependent guy, and he has 9 of them. He's going up against the Cowboys. Rivalry team, bloodbath game. I can see this one happening. I can see this going down as one of those games where he makes big plays.
Yeah, so when I was doing my offensive rankings, just the initial ones, the reason that I put I was debating between Purdy and Geno, right? The reason I put Purdy lower is because of Josh Allen.
Oh, there you go.
So there we go right there.
I feel pretty strong about that top 9. I say it again: Crosby, Watt, Parsons, Garrett, Bosa, Hunter, Hutchinson, Allen, Thibodeau. Here's where I get a little bit froggy when I'm looking at my 10 to 15. This is where I get a little bit spicy. I know you know who this is, Boye Mafe, because we talked him on the show, and I did a waivers article about Boye Mafe.
Yeah, he's only 38% owned on Sleeper still. Like, what are you all waiting for?
Let me show you guys a tweet about Mr. Mafe, okay? This is what I wrote on Twitter. I'm literally putting Boye Mafe in my top 10. I have not seen any other ranker do this. So this may make or break me this week. I'm going to put him in the top 10.
This is a bold call. I love it, though.
Yeah. See, so he's got 6 sacks in 6 consecutive games. And what's interesting about that is he didn't really start. He didn't start playing until like 3 games ago. So in his 3 starts, he has 3 sacks. And he's the 3rd highest win rate in the entire NFL. Remember we went over that?
Yes, sir.
He went down a little bit. He's only 27% now, only. He trails Parsons and Garrett. That is it. That is it on Mafe. And if that ain't good enough, here's another stat for you, okay? Here's kind of his career, man. Week 1, no sacks, okay? Week 2, he was injured. Can't fault him there. Week 3, a sack, 2 QB hits. Week 4, he was sacked. Week 5, a bye week. Can't fault him there. Week 6, another sack. Week 7, another sack. Week 8, a sack, 4 QB hits, fumble recovery. Week 9, sack, forced fumble recovery. What more do we want? What more do you want out of this man?
I picked him up, I think, week 6.
You did.
After you told me about him, and I started him every week in my Dynasty League. And he's been getting me like 20, 25 points every week in that league.
Don't you love it when you have somebody that knows their IDP and they're giving you some little tips?
And then it's 4 weeks later, and now I'm starting to hear other people talk about him.
So, we're going to get in a little bit later. I think Rashawn Gary is going to have an end of season kind of like that too. So we're on number 11 for me. Number 11 is Alex Highsmith. And this brings up a good point, okay? This comes from the mailbag. I got a question from UI2ID, and he asks, what do you think about Highsmith going up against a very good Packers offensive line? Okay? This question I felt was smart enough that I wanted to go over with you guys on the show. Okay? The reason I want to bring this up and take a little time to discuss this, I kind of want to be careful with stats and numbers. Be careful. Use numbers as a rule or guide. But just because you see a number, don't automatically assume that they are a great offensive line, okay? Let me show you, because I had to do my homework on this too. Let me show you where he got that idea from. All right, Jamie, when you look at the Packers, right? They're all the way down the bottom. They've only given up 18 sacks this year, right?
Oh, there they are. Yeah, third
Right?
last.
They look good, right? They look like a good offensive line, don't they? I mean, they do. I mean, you can't really fault what the man said. They look like a team that knows how to protect their quarterback, what have you. Okay.
But you gotta remember their pass attempts are one of the lowest in the leagues. Like they're at like 20.
Mm-hmm.
So
here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna bring it over here. We're gonna look at some advanced stats. Can you see my screen?
I see the graph. Yes, sir.
Okay, hold on. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you this. Let me go ahead
And while you're doing that, I did notice Jordan Love. He is quarterback 31 in pressured throws.
Ooh.
So Jordan Love, their line is allowing a lot of pressured throws.
Yes, they are, and that was going to be a point I'm bringing. So
his completion rate's not that great, so like he's just throwing the ball away. So if you can get to him, I mean that might be why the offensive line numbers are skewed a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That's what we call a misnomer. When we're looking at stats are good, but stats are also misleading. Let's not forget, the Packers, which obviously that according to that you would assume they have the 7th best offensive line. First thing we wanted to validate and see that, which was correct. I see where he's getting that stat from. Give up the 7th least sacks. At one point during the season, them and the 49ers were tied as like 2nd best. So I do understand why somebody would think the Packers are good, but they're not a very good offensive line, and you just showed us. It's very misleading. Let's take a deeper look. Jamie, the first 2 weeks of the year, they played the Bears and the Falcons, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One thing those teams got in common, they are the bottom teams in pass rush, aren't they?
Yeah, yes.
And even when they played them, their PFF grade's not that great. They got 85.3 against the Bears, 70.2 against the Falcons, okay? In that game, their tackle, I believe his name is David Bakhtiari. I'm not good at pronouncing it. He had a season-ending injury. Okay, the Packers still allowed a sack against the Bears. Then they go on and surrender another sack, actually 2 sacks against Atlanta, and then they go to New Orleans, and it was 73. See how it dropped their PFF grade, their offensive line, and they gave up another sack there. Okay, for a team in transition with a new starting quarterback, that's not a good look. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Look at the Lions week 4. The Lions week 4, they got exposed. Remember that big Hutchinson game? This is it right here. The offensive line gave PFF pass blocking was only 60.4. Hutchinson went off. He had I want to say he sacked the quarterback 5 times that game. I don't know if you remember that game.
No, I didn't watch that game, but I saw the stats. Yeah.
So here's the point I'm trying to draw. Okay, you got Hutchinson right here. The next week they got Crosby, and Crosby went off. Crosby was dominant in his game too. The following week, the Denver Broncos went after him, and their pass blocking grade already dipped to 54.4. Week 8, they had Daniel Hunter. Daniel Hunter got 1 of 4 of Minnesota sacks. So you see they're bleeding. Last week started, and look at this. Look at the rest of this list. Last week is the ultimate warrior test against the Packers offensive line. They are getting a lineup of ferocious, elite defensive linemen, okay? It's going to start week 9 with Aaron Donald. Just happened. He got himself some play, right? Week 10, you got Watt and Highsmith coming to town. Week 11, you got Bosa and the Mac boys, right? Week 10, here comes Aiden Hutchinson again, right? And then, week 14, of course, you got Kayvon Thibodeau coming back in. So again, when you look at this, there's going to be a lot of serious good players coming at them. Let's pull that stat one more time just for GP, okay? When you go ahead and look at the stats, okay, where were they? We said they were Packers. They were 18. They give them 18 sacks. They could theoretically give up 6 to 8 sacks in the next couple of weeks, okay? That would put them at 25th. They're down here. So they're going to go from all the way atop offensive line all the way down here. I mean, it's all speculative, but it's fun to do. But by no means, and that was a good question from the mailbag, by no means do I think the Packers are a strong offensive line. And I would not, Watt, of course, is always matchup proof, always. But with Alex Highsmith, I would not be pulling it out of no lineup. This is one of those cases where you look at a number, and the numbers can be misleading.
Nope.
All right, moving on a little bit here. Let's get back to the rankings. I just wanted to share that because I thought that was a pretty smart question. I went down, and this is kind of dealer's choice, guys. 12 is Buckner. I'm going to come back to Buckner in a second. But number 13, you can put either Bengal. You can put Hubbard, you can put Hendrickson. 14 Granderson, 15 Joey Bosa after the performance he had. The bottom of this tier, not really much to say, guys, because you can insert players, okay? On my bubble, I just said I got Hendrickson, I got Rashad Gary, I got Montez Sweat, Chase Young, and you know who I got 25th, 24th right now? Bryce Huff. Be on the lookout for Bryce Huff as he gets more and more snaps and more play. Be on the lookout for him. I'm enjoying what we're seeing out of him this year. Any questions on any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing Bryce Huff's name coming up a lot this past week, so that's a great ranking for him right there. Another thing is you said the Bengals guys, Hendrickson and Hubbard. I actually have both of them in my IDP guys tournament, and I keep going back and forth. Which one should I start? And I usually go with Hubbard. So I like how you have Hubbard over him in the tier above.
Because traditionally Hubbard is tackle friendly, and this is a tackle friendly league. What's weird is Hendrickson is more of a sack big play kind of guy. So depending on your scoring, they're interchangeable. I'm gonna go back to Buckner, and I thought this was a smart question too from Wrench Tiles. He said, Steve, I don't understand the notion, because I've said this before, and I think I said at the beginning of the pod too. Defensive tackle this year and mostly last year has been streamable. It's a streamable position. This guy here is talking about the notion of why is defensive tackle streamable. I thought the plausible idea was to draft only the top guys like a Donald or a Jones who are reliable, as there's a major drop in position. So according to his question, he's trying to relate defensive tackle like tight end. You know, you got your Travis Kelce, your Mark Andrews, and then it just drops off. You know what? You're not wrong. About 3-4 years ago, that's how people played IDP. We were kind of allergic to defensive tackles. But I'm going to say in the last 2 years or so, there was a huge boom at the nose tackle position. And I'm going to tell you why in a moment, okay? But I was actually curious about that, and I never actually looked this up before. Was the defensive tackle groups recently, was it actually good, or was it just random occurrences? So I started pulling numbers, just looking at random players, and I'm getting guys like Quinn Williams. I'm getting guys like Justin Simmons. I'm having guys just show up week to week, and I noticed a common group. There's like 4 or 5 of them, right? As I noticed this group, I realized something. They all came from the same exact draft class. So when you do the math on this, there was a draft that happened in 2019. Let me just show it to you, Jamie. This draft class changed everything, okay? I don't know if you're familiar with this draft class, so I'm going to put it on the screen. For the audience that's on Spotify and can't see, I just literally just put the 2019 defensive tackle draft class on the board. There were 5 players taken in the first round. Ed Oliver, Christian Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence, Jeffrey Simmons, Jeffrey Tillery, and there's a couple guys in here you may know. Greg Gaines, Draymond Jones. There's a PJ John. There's a couple guys in here that are probably playable in deeper leagues. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is that's why the position's streamable now. If you think of most of us, we play in 10, 12 team leagues. You can pretty much catch one of these guys any given week. And this was an excellent question to ask me, especially on the bye week with what? We don't have an Aaron Donald, and we don't have a Chris Jones this week. And I already have Buckner popping in my top 15, you know? So yeah, you can definitely get away with streamable position because the athletes we have coming out now are a lot different than they were 5 years ago. So maybe it's a case of recency bias a little bit. But yeah, defensive tackle has been like this for a couple of years. We just started noticing it.
So going off that, I actually have Ed Oliver in the IDP league. And I noticed he kind of popped off a few weeks here and there with like 16, 23, 13, 14. But then he had 9, 3, 7.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like totally streamable, man. I get that, man.
He plays a one technique, and this covers kind of all the different techniques and what have you. Better defensive lineman classes, if you will, and it was all in the defensive tackle, all in the interior. So I think that's why it's streamable. One more point I wanted to make, and I'll put this to bed. I don't know if you guys remember that really good running back draft class we had a couple years ago. We had CMC, we had Kamara, we had Zeke. There's a writer, Pete Howard. He did an article on this, and he noted that back then, everybody was taking running back early because, there was such a scarcity. When those guys came out, we started more disregarding it because everybody in the 10 to 12 had a team. Same thing with defensive tackle. So maybe that's where we're at, that Pete Howard article, when he noted that, a really strong running back group like this, and it's about to age out, so it may change again, but maybe the positions are less valuable or less scarcity until they age out. So just something to look at. But yes, we are definitely in a fine time for defensive tackles, and on bye weeks, you can definitely get away with using some of these guys. So excellent question. I'm going to go over this list one last time, and I'm going to show you guys what I have, and then we'll move on to the next category. Okay.
Yeah, I love how you brought up Peter Howard, man. I love that guy. I love his accent. It makes me want to listen to him even more. So if you've never heard of Peter Howard, go check him out.
So just to recap, and I love doing defensive linemen. Just to recap, all the measures I do, so I don't want to keep beating that dead horse. But I got Max Crosby 1 this week, T.J. Watt 2, Micah Parsons 3. All of those are good options. Myles Garrett 4. Slight break, I got at number 5, Nick Bosa. Number 6, I got Daniel Hunter. Number 7, I got Aiden Hutchinson. Number 8, I got Josh Allen. Number 9, I got Kayvon. Number 10, I got Mafe. Sleeper alert. Watch that. I'm sure by the time we all get our rankings together, he'll be getting pushed up. Number 11, I have Highsmith. You guys know why. Number 12, I'm more than okay with Buckner. And then the end of the list, this is dealer's choice. I'm going to give you my last 3, and I'm going to give you the guys on the bubble. I got Sam Howard, Carl Granderson, Joey Bosa. Hendrickson's fine. Gary's fine. Montez Sweat's fine. Heck, Chase Young's fine. I would even put an honorable mention for Bryce Huff. He's moving up there. I got him top 24. That completes my defensive lineman. I'm going to go ahead for the audience that's watching. I'm just going to show you who else I have in here. Jamie, any thoughts on this defensive lineman week 10?
Yeah, I noticed. Okay, so you got Chase Young, top 20. I believe he plays what team?
49ers.
No, what team does he play? Jacksonville, right? Or no?
This week?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Chase Young, he's getting a pretty sweet matchup with Jacksonville, and they give it up for pressures. Yeah.
And didn't they play Jacksonville earlier this year? Chase Young?
No, they didn't. No.
Washington did not play Jacksonville. I thought I saw that. Yeah, I was looking.
Chase Young was traded to the 49ers.
Yeah. So the 49ers are playing
Jacksonville.
Yeah, but didn't Washington already play Jacksonville this year?
Oh, good question.
I thought I saw something. I was looking at it, and I noticed I think he already played them.
Well, we could find out real quick. That's an excellent question.
Click on his name. See what he did is I'm pretty sure he already went off against them when he was on Washington.
So let's just go ahead, and Jonathan Allen's still there, right? So the Commanders played. No, they didn't. They played the Cardinals, Broncos, Bills, Eagles. No, they didn't. That would have been a smart look, though. All right. I'm going to move on to defensive back. You can see my screen, of course, right?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, and I'm going to go through.
Let's go through these ones quick because we all know how you love your defensive backs, man.
Oh, yeah, and you know how I do it. I go solo tackles. I go how many times targeted, catches allowed. I'm looking at snap counts, too. To answer your question earlier, snap count's great. I'm looking for 90, 100%, okay? But the thing is, that's kind of a lazy answer, Jamie, because context matters. Say your team is only playing 28% of snaps, right? They only got 28% defensive snaps because their offense is moving the ball. Okay, he got 100%. Whoop-de-damn-do. My guy only got 80, but he played 40. So the volume of those snaps also matters, not just the percentage, Also, for a defensive back, where are those snaps? He's playing 28 snaps and they're back in the free safety spot. You better hope he's a big play guy, because if not, you're not getting many tackles. And that's kind of how I got this list ranked. So the top 4, Jamie, they're kind of hard not to see it, but you have it in some order of Bynum, Curl, James, Hamilton. That's how I have it. Number 1 is Cameron Bynum. I rank in Bynum here early when most sites didn't, and they didn't think it was cool at the time. Well, I kind of did this a couple weeks ago. He got 60 tackles on the season. He's ranked for first as a defensive back. I say it again. He's got 60 tackles. That's linebacker numbers. Okay. He's got 1 interception. That's 2, tied for 5th. He's been thrown at 42 times. That's 2nd. A couple weeks ago, he was 1st. And the same thing, receptions allowed, 22, tied for 2nd. He was 1st. So teams are starting to figure it out to stay the heck away from him, right? But, I target guys like that who may be a liability in coverage because they'll make the clean play. So that's why I have Bynum 1st. Right behind him, same fit as Cameron Curl. 15 box snaps he plays, which is nice. 54 tackles, 2nd on the season. 33 tackles, 4th. Receptions allowed, 23, 6th. So he's the same kind of player. And Derwin James, when he's healthy, he got 10 in the box. 28 tackles, 19th. Interceptions, 1, 17th. Targets, 20. 20 allowed is 16th. That's tied for 23rd. Either one of those guys, I'm very excited to have. Let's throw in Kyle Hamilton while we're here at 4. 8 box snaps. Last week he had he had 8 box snaps last week. 36 solos, tied for 23rd. 1 INT, tied for 17th. Targets 31, catches allowed 16th. Okay, this part here completes my uber athlete superhuman tier. Really, I get kind of excited for this next tier. This interests me, okay? Because the next tier are usually those guys that you can get at a discount. Those are the guys that I'm never gonna see those top 4 guys unless I made a trade or unless it was a rookie draft or something. I'm never gonna get them. So this next tier is the one I kind of get because I place premiums on other positions. This next tier is guys that are like in different team schemes, situation fits, stuff that I'm actually interested in looking at. Okay, so number 6 on my list, you're going to see a guy. Okay, his name is Kyle Duggar. Okay, anything jump out to you, my friend? Kyle Duggar. These are every single snap that he has played this year.
Oh, let's see. What am I looking at? Box score. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, that's.
So let me just put it in comparison, okay? So I just told you that Derwin James had 10 box plays. Cameron Curl had 15. Okay, that's good week, right? This dude has how many? How many a week does he got in the box?
38, 40, 25 at the least, I'm seeing.
Bill is playing him like a wild man. Bill is playing him as the linebacker, if not, right? So he's got 44 tackles on the season. Shocker, right? That's 7th. Interceptions 2, tied for 5th. Targets 33, tied for 4th. Receptions allowed 17. I'll take that 3rd. Last week alone, Jamie, he had 8 tackles, 1 sack, 1 INT. He's been like this for about 3 weeks now, okay? Now, here's what else is kind of neat. If you were to go over, and I'm going to do it just to show you guys what I am looking at, okay? If you guys were to go over, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you guys, IDP guys, we have this neat little snap count tool thing. If you were to go over to, we're going to do New England just to prove a point, okay? If you guys were to go over and we're going to look at Duggar, the last 3 games, and you probably already know this, okay? If he's not getting around, week 1, 100%, week 2, 100%, week 3, 100%, week 4, 90, week 5, he took a nap at 86, week 6, 91. Look at the last 3 games, Jamie, 100, 100, 100. Now, what did I say? That's great and all, but let's look at volume. 71 plays, 77 plays, 78 plays. Are you not licking your chops at this guy yet? And he gets all of those box plays. This is the guy to own, and I got him all the way down at 6 because there's no way I can get him any higher than that. There's no way. Crazy?
I like it. No, I like it, man. Especially with the bad offense that the Patriots have, they're going to be seeing a lot more defensive plays.
And like I said, just look at those numbers. They're right there. Every week he's right in the thick of it. I don't see most. I last week I put him 5, and people probably thought I was crazy. Well, he produced this week, so that's our guy. Okay, not just Duggar, but there's another player that meets that same criteria. Can you see Blackman on the screen?
Yeah, he's up there. Julian Blackman.
Yeah, Julian Blackman, he's another guy. He's not necessarily an athlete. I got him. Well, okay, I got Dax Hill in between these two. Dax Hill's got 4 in the box. He's, 13 just a week ago. He's got 35 tackles, tied for 21st. He's got catches allowed 10. What I notice about Dax Hill and why I got him so low, there's a trend on Hill. They move him around based on matchups. It's hard to kind of predict his usage. So the two guys I'm really excited about in this tier are Julian Blackman and Duggar. Julian Blackman is the one I want to show you here. He's got 49 tackles. That comes in 3rd ranked, okay? INTs, 2, 5th. Targets, 26, tied for 15th. Receptions allowed, 19th, he's tied for 12th. This is another player I want. Maybe not necessarily the best athlete, but he's clone to do what I need him to do. He's a Madden player for me. He's going to get decent volume, and historically he gets 100% of all the snaps week to week. So you see, I have a pattern. These are the kind of players that I like to follow. I'm looking at players that do certain things for me, and either one is I'm sailing on cloud 9 for, okay? Pretty self-explanatory. This next tier I have, number 8, Jalen Petrie, number 9, Antoine Whitfield, number 10, Grant Delpit. Number 11, Budda Baker. Number 12, Minka Fitzpatrick. Be careful with number 12. He's just coming back. He's just coming back off of an injury. So I'm not quite sure. But every single one of those guys I just said, the reason they're in this tier is because they are freaks. PFF rankings on these guys are amazing, okay? What did I say? Antoine Whitfield, he's actually ranked 4th with overall defense at 88.9. Okay. Every single one of these guys.
I'm not seeing your rankings on the screen.
Oh, you're not? Okay, I'm sorry.
Blackman.
Okay, so let me go ahead and share that with you. Thanks for saying that. Okay, Petrie, Winfield, Delpit, Baker, Minka, every single one of those guys in there, they're kind of freaks of nature. And I was just giving you an example of how I based that. If you look at their PFF rankings, like Antoine Winfield, for example, he's tied for 3rd. So he's got an 89.9% PFF grade right now. A lot of these guys are more like freaks of nature at the bottom of my list because they hit a certain criteria for me. They hit the fact that they are really good at being a safety and playing the big coverage and making the hits when we need them to. You know what I mean? That's kind of why I have those guys where I have them. Not no exact science to it, but either one of those guys is going to hit. So I'm not going to spend too much time on them. But if you look at Delpit's on that list too. Delpit's another one of those freak of natures. He got actually, hold on. Yeah, Grant Delpit's actually 10th on the list. His overall grade is 77.6. But that's all I was trying to show you. I was trying to show you why they hit that criteria. Once I get down to the final tier, I got 13 Jesse Bates, 14 Josh Metellus, and the other Viking safety, 15 Harrison Smith. I'm kind of hopeful. I'm kind of trying to look for a couple different things. I'm trying to see because those guys get volume every week. Nothing really special here. Jesse Bates, you got to be careful with. I did this on a podcast a couple weeks ago. Jesse Bates, all his plays are in deep free safety. They're all in the box, every single one of them. So you got to be careful with him when you're playing him. It's all interceptions, fumbles, what have you. Harrison Smith's an interesting one. I just wanted to show you that. You see how all his plays are all over the field? They got him at a corner. They got him in the slot. They got him in the box. They got him moving around. They're using Harrison Smith as an overall team player as opposed to what we used to see out of Harrison Smith a couple of years ago, all pro cover, shadow player. His role is a little bit different on a younger team, which is kind of exciting, to see. So just to recap here, let me share my screen. These are my DBs. I got Cameron Bynum 1, Curl 2, James 3, Hamilton 4, Duggar 5, Hill 6, Blackman 7, Petrie 8, Winfield 9, Delpit 10, Baker 11, Fitzpatrick 12, Bates 13, Metellus 14, Harrison Smith 15. And then I'm just going to scroll through my rankings here. There's a couple guys on the bubble.
I'm still not seeing your rankings here because they're not showing up.
Oh, okay. Let me pull those on the stage. Okay. There's a couple guys on the bubble I like. Guys like Jamal Adams, or how about even Brian Branch? Brian Branch is going to be playing those wide receivers of the Chargers. You can go down the field. There's a couple plays. You can make in here. If you're in a sleeper league, you can play the Cowboys Bell. He can play defensive back and he can play safety. He's a top 30 play this week too. So here are my DB rankings. I don't want to spend a lot of time here because again, even the top, with the exception of the top guys, it's any given Sunday with any of these guys. So we're gonna move on to linebackers. Any questions on any of that stuff, Jamie?
Yeah, for the DBs, real quick. Someone asked me earlier about Bynum, and I told him to send me his waiver wire. And I noticed Hamilton is on his waiver wire, and for you, they're both top 5.
They are,
if I remember correctly. So
yes.
Should I tell him to pick up like both of them? I mean, pick up Hamilton off the waiver, maybe stash him, play the matchup.
So the answer is Bynum for me. Bynum is everything. If you have an opportunity to play Hamilton, depending on the setup's everything. Because I don't always have leagues where I need backups at safety. When you're playing offensive leagues and, you see the guy with the roster has like 3 or 4 tight ends, you're like, why? Usually safety I cut first and tight end I cut first. I don't play a lot of those backups. I hoard key positions like running back, quarterback. If it's a 1 QB, hell with it. I don't need backups. But you know what I'm saying? For IDP, it's usually linebackers. And it's usually elite defensive linemen, basic setup leagues, without knowing any context.
And this is obviously a start 1 DB.
I wouldn't. I would not, because you think about 12-team league, any given week, any single one of those guys I listed, you can get away with, So I wouldn't. I would probably stash another linebacker. So linebacker, pretty basic list, right? Olakun 1, Roquan Smith 2. We're not going to beat a dead horse here. We know they're 1 and 2 every single week. We know the matchups are good against the Niners and against the Browns. We're not even going to go over this one. Let's go straight to 3, TJ Edwards. A lot of people still aren't paying attention to Edwards, which I think is weird. Edwards is a great player. He's great on film. He's great watching. He actually has 72 tackles on the year. That's second in the league. So to even have him at 3 is somewhat criminal, but you got to put Smith and Olakun ahead of him. So 72 tackles. He's 9th in assists. He's got 1 forced fumble, tied for 8th. I don't see how you don't put him 3, but there are some rankers that are putting Bobby Wagner there. I got Wagner 4th. We mentioned a couple podcasts ago, so I don't want to keep saying. I want to try to highlight other players as I move around. Bobby Wagner. He's got 61 tackles, that's 4th. Assists, he's tied for 9th. He's got an 86.8 PFF grade on the season. That's impressive to me. The thing about Bobby Wagner, he's a bit spotty. He has up and down weeks. But if you look at the overall body of work, you pull his numbers, every single week, he's like grinding out, making plays, making stops, making stuff. So yeah, I would put Wagner 4th due to age. And I put Edwards up a little bit higher. And then Edwards got a better matchup. So that's how I did that one. 5, I think Fred Warner is incredibly sneaky to be put in there. I really do. Let me explain this to you, okay? Not only does he have the number 1 linebacker matchup, he's playing the Jags. They can't stop it. The Jags give up 52.20 points to that position. They give it up. So those linebackers are going to feast. If it ain't Greenlaw, it's definitely Wagner. But I'm looking on the season. Wagner's been a better play this year. He's got 47 tackles, tied for 20th. He's got 24 tied as assists. He's got 2 forced fumbles, tied for second. I'm sorry, no, he's tied for first fumbles. So the thing about Wagner is he's got the matchup and he's got the stats. So a top 5 finish is really good for me. My 6, and this is a bit interesting because a lot of people still don't know who that is. Do you recognize the name?
Oh, I know the name. Yeah, I've
you do?
Looked at them in drafts. Yep.
Okay, just so people at home can see what I'm doing. Aziz.
We got Jordan Hicks pulled up.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull him up here. Okay, Aziz. When you look at his numbers on the year, what's not to like? Like, look at this guy. Every week he's logging 100%. Every single week he's grinding it out. He's giving you last week 8 assists, two souls. The week before is opposite, 7-4, 9-6. So you're getting multiple points out of Aziz every single week. He's got 54 tackles on the year. He's got 23 assists back to back. This guy's been nailing it. So I think my top 6. I really think this top 6 is solid. Number 1, Oluku. Number 2, Smith. Number 3, Edwards. Number 4, Wagner. Number 5, Warner. Number 6, Aziz. Now, this tier 3, I'm not going to spend a lot of time because we have in other videos. Number 7, I got Quincy Williams. Number 8, I got C.J. Mosley. Either one of those Jets is fine against the Raiders. Number 9, I got Kaiser White. You guys know why. It's Atlanta. They're going to run the ball. Number 10, I got Logan Wilson. They're all fine. I don't want to spend too much time there. The rankings, you can adjust those, dealer's choice, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I'm okay with that. But what I want to talk about is when we're at the deep end of this list and we're starting to get in the 11s and 12s. What's fun, Jamie, during the bye weeks, what's fun is a lot of these players that probably wouldn't get recognition are getting it now, and it's exciting to see. Do you see a couple names on that list that maybe we don't talk about very much?
Luvu, Sanborn.
Yeah. All on my bubble. Luvu, Greenlaw, they're all on the bubble. But let's talk about a number 11, Jordan Hicks. He had a great game. He had a sack, a QB hit, 11 tackles. I pulled his numbers. He's got a 78.3 PFF grade. Solid. Do you know what else? Since week 2, he's had 8 tackles or more every single week, except for one game. And I got him all the way down here at 11. You know who else has been solid? Levante David. And I know what you're thinking, old man Levante David, right? Let's look at him a little bit more in depth, okay? Levante David is the linebacker to own.
Wait, hold on. I'm seeing Algier still. Algier. Okay,
I'll pull him up. So the thing about David is he's got 56 tackles in a season. That's tied for 8th. He's got assists. He's tied for 30th in assists. 1 forced fumble, tied for 8th. I pulled his stats. They're strong. He's playing a team this week that has given up 42.40 to the linebacker position. That is pretty good. David's been strong all year. And another one I want you to look at, and I'm still trying to compile the data, but Patrick Queen is on a solid year. Patrick Queen is on a solid year of being the LB2 there. And even some weeks he has better weeks than the main guy does. He has better weeks than Smith does there. So if you pay attention to it, Patrick Queen's on a good pace this year. Sometimes he outplays Smith, which is crazy because we got him ranked 2. But Queen got 49 souls on the year. He's tied for 24th in assists. He's playing the Browns. The Browns are the 5th best at that position, 49.40. Sign me up for Patrick Queen or Smith this week. The numbers look good. The last 2 in this tier, I'm a little bit skeptical on, but they're just freak athletes for different reasons. One is a freak athlete, Brooks. He doesn't get the snaps I typically want. He's probably getting between 70, 80 given a week. That's okay. But 53 tackles, he's tied for 15th. 20 tackles, he's tied for 15th. Assists, excuse me. Forced fumbles, he's tied for 8th. He's had 10 tackles every single game but 2. And the guy's coming off a tear. And he's coming off an injury. I mean, you got to give him a break, right? The only thing he doesn't have is my snaps. So even sometimes when guys don't hit my metrics, I'm still going to include them in my stuff. I'm still going to put them in there. Now, Bobby O's the opposite. I don't really see anything exciting there, but he's the kind of guy he's getting all the snaps and he's sitting there and he's going to eat. He's going to have his weeks. And because he's just there, he's tied for 5th with 59 tackles. He's tied for 9th in assists. He's got 22. He's got 1 interception, tied for 7th. Okay. He's got 2 forced fumbles. He's tied for 1st. PFF grade's not that solid, but it's good enough, 85.5. Since week 2, he's had every game. He's had tackles of 7 or more, I think, except 1. Let me pull that up real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, I do like your Levante David ranking of 12. I just was looking at him, and he's 6th in solo tackles. I mean, he's 12th in run stuffs. Tackles for loss, he's number 3. Fantasy points per game, he's getting like 21.
I definitely wanted to put David or Bobby O in here at the bottom of my list. Same thing with Bobby O, though. Every single week, he's got 7, he's got 9, he's got 11, he's got 11, he's up there every single week. He does not. I'm sorry, the first game of the year he didn't get 8, but ever since then, 8 out of 9 weeks he's got 8. Let's pull up David while we're at it. David's an interesting one too. He's outplaying Devin White. What were you saying about David?
Let's see. I noticed you have him ranked higher than a lot of people that I've noticed.
Yeah, I do.
But he is 6th in solo tackles. Position, he's number 3 in tackles for loss, 12th in run stuffs, and let's see, 21.8 points per game, which is number 4. And that's just the site I'm looking at. These numbers could be a little off, but
I mean, when you look at David, it's pretty sweet. It's a sweet matchup here. And then on top of that, not just the matchup, but every single week, let's go to week 6, 9 solos, 3 assists. Week 7, 8 solos, 5 assists. Week 8, 6 solos, 8 assists. Week 9, 9 solos, 2 assists. So why are we backing on David? Why are we forgetting this guy? Is it because he's old? Are we ageists? Why are we not putting David in here each week? That's what boggles my mind. It just doesn't make sense that we have David so darn low, So, but anyway, that completes my list. And what I'm going to do for the audience at home, I'm going to actually scroll through it real quick so you guys can take a look at it. Number 1 is Olaku. Number 2 is Smith.
Hold on, I'm not seeing the list.
Gotcha. Number 3 is Edwards. Number 4 is Wagner. Number 5 is Warner. 6, we got Aziz. 7, we got Quincy Williams. 8, Mosley. 9, Kaiser White. 10, Logan Wilson. 11, Jordan Hicks. 12, David. 13, Patrick Queen. 14, Jordan Brooks. 15, Bobby O. Then I got a couple guys on the border, on the bubble, the TJ Watts, the Luvus, the Greenlaws, the Sanborns. Any given week, don't sleep on Kenneth Murray. I got him 22. Blake Cashman, 25. That's going to win somebody some money out there. Cashman is, for some reason, getting all the snaps over on that team, and I guess we've had it wrong this whole time. But, yeah, that completes my linebackers list.
So I have a quick question. So I noticed Holcomb is on IR, right?
Yes.
Who's going to be taking his place? Because I know Roberts could be in line for some more snaps. So do you need to see it before you rank them, or where do you have them?
That's a good question, and we're going to go back over to the snap count on the idpguys.org. So the thing is about the Steelers, right? They have a good linebacker core. And one thing that I enjoy when I look at the Steelers this year, they're in a good situation. Despite the man having a bad year and despite the man being hurt, okay, you have Landon Roberts. He leads the league in run stops and run stop percentage. He's owned in just 22% of leagues. I got him on my waivers article. Jamie, if you get a chance to read my waivers article on Fantasy Six Pack, I somehow referenced Bon Jovi for every single player.
Yeah, I did. That's awesome.
So
I
just
recommend everyone going to check that out.
Heck yeah. But anyway, with the only problem with Landon Roberts, he doesn't get the snaps. So your answer is it's probably Quan Alexander. Quan's got 69, 60, 65, 38, 40, 69, 86. But this is a great opportunity for a deeper league to pick up a Landon Roberts. Like I said, he leads the league in run stops, run defense. Okay, his only problem has been snaps. 43 week 1, 42, and then week 2, 31. Week 3, he's got the 24. So it's picking up. Last week he had 50, but he's still a little bit behind these other guys. So that's what I would do. That's who I'd go with. But yeah, keep an eye on both of them. This completes the episode, guys. Jamie, tell everybody where they could find you.
Yeah, I'm over at Going for Two, doing a Sunday morning start sit show every Sunday. And then Tuesday nights, we have a fantasy cheat sheet. So come check us out over there. And then I'm always every day, at the Facebook Fantasy Football Discussion Group. We got 40,000 members. I always be posting stuff. Steve's in there too. So come check us out.
And then you can follow Jamie on his handle, at Jamie Perog. The other thing too, guys, I wanted to take time to show y'all is we actually got a IDP Guys Network is starting a new promotion starting on November 19th. Subscriptions are now 50% off. We'll be adjusting everyone's coupon codes as well. So just great content. If you want to talk to me or you want to talk to other, creators, we have SitStar, we have Discord. I'm in there all week as well. We finished a little bit early this week. So again, guys, if you guys want to come on the show or if you guys have questions, please, by all means, just leave it in the comments. Kind word goes a long way. A smart comment goes a long way. You see, I put it into the show. If you guys can think of any other things that you'd want to see on here, besides just rankings, we try to go in depth. We try to use PFF and all that stuff too. By all means, we're going to grow this show in the off season. We're probably going to do some dynasty info as well. Jamie, any closing thoughts?
No, great show. I actually learn a lot every time me and you have a conversation, and I love it.
That's what I try to do. I try to bring
smarter,
and I try to bring smart guests on.
I'm new to IDP. I just started this year pretty much, and you've been teaching me everything I know. So appreciate it. I appreciate you.
Good. And we appreciate you too, Jamie. And we're going to close out the show on that note. Again, guys, if you like what you see, keep watching. If you guys keep watching, I'll keep doing this. We're only as great of a team by the information we put out, and I'm going to keep trying to put out great content and keep trying to find you guys great guests. It's going to rotate. Some weeks I'm going to be by myself. Some weeks I'm going to have guests. Some weeks I'm just going to have random guys that we know, and we're going to bring them on. Okay. So again, subscribe to idpguys.org and receive that coupon code. Okay. All right, we're going to head out. Guys, have a great night.
Thank you for watching this IDP Guys video. If you like this content and you want more fantasy football content, click here. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos to help you master your IDP league, click here to subscribe.